It is 10:40, what's the 38 a.m. We have a motion to go back into regular session on item number 8. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? In reference to the settlement agreement with Patricia J. Snowden Cardell versus LaSalle County, Texas, Harry S. Affleck Jr. and Artesia Wells Ranch, 1994 LTD. We have a settlement agreement, and the settlement would include the county erecting a 5-strand barbed wire fence with 2 gates, replacing 1 cattle guard, discontinue part of the Snowden Road, and accept donated property from Mr. Affleck. And with this, we would proceed to authorize the settlement agreement, which would include about 90 days to construct the improvements. So we would need that in the form of a motion. I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Second.
Who was the second? Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, number 14, I know the sheriff's not here, but Herb Bristow is another meeting, and I'm gonna ask to table this. Is discussion executive session with potential action pursuant to section 551.071 and 551.074, personnel issues, and to meet and receive consultation with attorney Herb Bristow, this is Miguel Rodriguez, Rebecca Catu, Selena Catu, potential action open session. Now, is it Rebecca Ramirez or Catu? Okay, so I would have to repost that, and we got some serious complaints with some of the employees, and the item needs to be addressed. And I asked the sheriff to take care of it several times, and he keeps saying, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And we can get Herb to do the investigation, or, because he said he was gonna get Randy, but it's been going on for a long time. So, Warden? Warden, one is I posted the agenda wrong. It should be Rebecca Ramirez. Now, Herb Bristow is not here, so we're gonna table this item. We're gonna table this item until another meeting. And one of the things I've asked is I've received some very serious concerns and complaints, and I want to come back and post it. Well, the attorney's not here, and I should have posted it as a Rebecca Ramirez. And the thing is, there's some very serious complaints that have been received, and they need to be addressed. They need to be addressed, and they have it. And the sheriff said he was going to work on it. It's already been passed. I mean, last Thursday, and maybe the people involved that he's going to have them help look at it are busy, but we have a working environment, and I'm concerned for the facility. So I think I brought the sheriff up to date. I'll bring you up to date, and I'm going to ask to table this until Herb Bristow can be here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what we said. I didn't know you were going to come back, but that's what the answer was warned, that when we saw the deal, I called him yesterday, and I told him to do, so I didn't know who was directed to do. So when I talked to the warden right now, he told me, she needs to be here because he's the one that said Ramirez, so that's why she's not here now, because we want her here.
Yeah, I mean, she has the right to be in executive session, and I'm going to be very straight up, and we may need to bring the other people, but I don't want any retaliation. If not, I will ask. I won't even ask the commissioner's court. I'll pursue, charges, whether state or federal.
But that's your question. I don't know if you're talking about it, because I talked to somebody 3 weeks ago, and we were supposed to start that issue tomorrow, but because there was some issue that happened in Bristol City, but the ranger was supposed to be.
But we said it was going to be the next Thursday, and then we hit that Thursday, then we hit the other Thursday. and either that or the ranger can bring somebody else in. But we have a facility that's expected to be run according to federal standards, and I don't want to play games with the U.S. Marshal. I don't. I want to make sure it's a serious business, and I want to make sure it's all accounted for.
And I did not take everything personal, it's not personal, it's serious business, but that's what I've been talking to Mr. Converas. I mean, I've been talking every, almost once a week. Remember I called him last week, told him that we were gonna go have a meeting in Florida sometime this week. I mean, I just talked to him on Thursday morning, so, I mean, I'm not being aggressive, I've been on top of the game, just because I know you don't know Mr. Salcedo, but I've been on top of the game, it's not like I ignored it, or another man that I just don't care, I do care. I more phone, but it's not that we're not trying to do nothing about it. It's just that we have to see those things. Later on, discuss that in the next. I'll tell you what happened about that.
Yeah, I'll ask the table until we get Per Bristol here, and then we'll bring you up to speed.
By the way, because even the warden, he had no one to be here.
Yeah, and he has nothing to do with it. He wasn't here. He wasn't here.
That's what I
He wasn't here, but yeah.
I told him I didn't get him involved. I just told him that it's better he didn't use it to go on. So, but that's the reason, like I said, But I told him it might be that he never been in commission before. So I told him to go ahead and be here today.
Okay. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to table until we can get Mr. Herb Bristol. Unless by then your investigative people start,
Well, there was full short tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna table it, and if it gets started, then we, you hear it otherwise. Motion's been made to table.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Now, we have we have you here, Sheriff? We have three other items here, well, four other items. One, number 10, discussion possible action to temporarily cancel jail contracts with Frio County and Zavala County unless each inmate being housed has been screened for COVID-19. Meaning we have a contract with Zavala County and we have a contract with Frio that unless those new people coming in get screened, when I say screened, they actually take a swab test, not meeting. We won't let them in. The ones that are there are okay now, but we don't take anybody else new.
You haven't done this well, but you just saying you're still doing the procedure. We're still doing that, but just to let you know, because I was checking that on Thursday too, that we're not taking it. Let's say that the deputies in Frio County or trooper arrest somebody, and Ms. Martinez and Ms. Perales told the sheriff's office Frio County, said, look, if somebody who is coming from those places like San Antonio that have high numbers, we're not gonna accept them. So we're doing that, and I give credit to Ms. Perales and Ms. Martinez. So now this one from us that they arrested, the initial arrest, they arrested them for possession, they're gonna get, but we're still not confirming the misdemeanors, only the felonies. But we are taking that step, because they had a lady from here that she was in Crystal City, but I guess when she was in Crystal, they sent her to San Antonio. So when they got, she told me she wasn't feeling good, but she was in San Antonio, so they sent her back. So we're doing everything we can. Unlike everybody, we don't want nobody to get sick, so we're doing everything except, but I do give the credit to Ms. Martinez and Ms. Perales.
But they're not being screened for the test. So anybody coming to our jail from another county should be screened.
So what are you doing?
Because I see that daily report, and we are getting people from Frio County. We are. There's not too many. There's only like 3 of them. It changes daily. But the problem is Frio County has a number of cases that have gone up. And when we opened the jail, we had said we opened the jail just for our people. we were gonna be making any money on it, and we swallowed it, and we've made it run, even though it doesn't make money, it's not done. But why do you wanna risk contaminating the jail when we're not gonna make enough money from those, from Frio County or Zavala County to operate it? You're gonna contaminate the whole thing. And I say, if they don't have a screening test, you know,
And you're gonna send somebody from Rio County or Zavala County, are they gonna test them over there and keep them 4 or 5 days and then send them, or they're gonna test them?
We just wanna make sure that they already had the test done and they.
Well, yeah, but,
They don't have the
but
test.
you're gonna wait for the results before they get here, or you're gonna?
That's what we're gonna start doing, make sure that.
but the
Because
thing-
we don't wanna get them tested over there and then send them over here and then, shit, they come out.
And I would say just for the safety purposes, until this thing is over, just cancel the contract, and the commissioners courts are the ones that decide. So we cancel the contract with Zavala and Frio County. I'm sorry, we're gonna cancel the contract due to the virus for the time being. Whatever prisoners you have right now are fine, but we're not gonna accept no more prisoners. And I know you don't want that. I know you don't want that because you gotta have that relationship, but I'm thinking for the interest of our people.
Let me answer some of the questions they just said. When I came in, if you weren't here, there was other people, but if you remember, we were temporary jail. What it means temporary jail, you can only hold them for 3 days. You can find a spot for it, even if it's a murder or felony, you have to release them because they over the 3 days, or we get in trouble. The only reason I told the judge that, I know if you were right, he said you don't want to, because the jail's not gonna, this little jail is not gonna make any money. You have to have at least 100 more to really make money. He's right on that. But when I did it, it's not because I didn't want to bring people to make money with the conditions to make money. The only reason I did it because, it's like you spread my back. I spread you. It's like they help us when we needed them, and you can't close the doors, and that's my opinion. That's why we did it, but like what you said, just we can't say it right now. And I think they understand, but the only reason I wanted to do this because, like I said, Zavala was holding our prisoners who were temporary, Atascosa, Frio County, when they were open at the time, even Uvalde County. Atascosa. That's the only reason I did it, because, because hope never happens again, but what if you had to close the jail and you had to use it, they're gonna remember it, hey, we don't want your prisoners either. So all you had to do is, I know they understand right now because of the situation, but that's the only reason I did it, not to make money or anything like that, but, I just want to.
But one of the things, if I started this with get them screened for COVID, take the test. Frio County has a holding cell. So if they swab them, then in 2 days they can get the results if they're using the right people.
Right.
But if they're not, then they're gonna have to hold it a little longer. That's something you gotta bring to the jail commission. The jail commission actually just sent a survey and they wanna know if we've been screening everybody, and we haven't been screening everybody. I don't think your jail has a zero pressure, so I don't know if the air is circulated all along. It's not like the one in Ensenada where you have your well, you should have some rooms in the jail in Ensenada that have zero pressure, meaning it doesn't circulate with the other population. It throws out, so it's pretty safe. So if somebody gets sick, you can put that person in there and it won't contaminate the rest of the facility. Correct me if I'm wrong, Warden. But the little jail doesn't have that, so the air circulates. But by keeping your jail small in population, you got a 15, you can segregate people. But it still doesn't solve the problem that the air gets circulated through the venting system. If we change the contracts and we're gonna take everybody, make them get tested, otherwise they do not come into the jail, then we're safe. And you meet your, you keep your relationship. But if that can't happen, I'm saying just close it to everybody else. At the end of the day, we decide the ones that we do that.
And I think they understand. They were good with me because we always call once a week in Salinas, and I talk every day to Mr. Chair de Leon. So we got good relationship. And I know they won't get mad even if I say, look, starting tomorrow until further notice, they will understand.
But the hardest thing with the facility, and I'm gonna say the hardest thing with the facility is that you have some prisoners that have been there for a long time, and it started before this virus, so they didn't have anything when they get started. If they get sick, And I want to make sure that we've done everything to protect them. Because there's only two ways that jail can get contaminated. One is if it's the employees, new prisoner, or the third-party contractors come in. That's the only way they can get sick. So we need to make sure that we protect the ones that we have there. And if we say, okay, we're not taking no more prisoners unless they are tested, you know, I mean, we've tried.
No, I will talk to them today. Like I said, they're good about it. They understand.
But I would rather have this in the form of motion, said, hey, you know, unless they're swabbed and we got the confirmed results, we're not gonna let them in the jail. You know, we need them to cooperate. So as soon as they arrest somebody in Frio County or Zavala County, make them get swabbed. And I think that's what the U.S. Marshal is doing now. I think I got an email from U.S. Marshal that all the new people are being swabbed before they come in.
And that's what Martin, I talked to Mr. Contreras, because he was gonna share with his bosses, because remember we.
Yeah.
And that's another issue I told him about it, but he said he wanted to send an email, so we sent an email, we're just waiting. But he said he didn't see any issue with it, you know, because I said, well, it's not, why we just gonna test the workers and not the inmates, you know, because I know they were up at 5 last week. So that's the problem, because you don't know, they come from all over.
And they say they're being tested. Are they being screened or are they being tested? Are you actually getting the result that you put in your file in your office? Or say, oh yeah, they've been screened or they've been tested. If you don't get a test that say they've been swabbed, then you're getting people from the U.S. Marshal's office that are not swabbed.
Yeah, we were doing, because we weren't getting anybody, it started for a while, right? We just got those 5 last week.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we haven't had anybody until last week.
Because the Bureau of Prisons put out a memorandum of what they do with prisoners during the COVID 19, and it says that they test them going in. But I don't know if they're really following the test or you just pick them up, court date, and that's it. But if that memorandum is correct and it says, hey, we're testing them, then they should be giving the warden or the medical staff a document stating, okay, prisoner A, here, he's cleared. And that's the way you protect it. You know, because the last thing you want is something to happen like Bear County. Y'all done a wonderful job. You kept it clean. And I'm thinking ahead if this is going to be going on for a while now. But those other counties, we don't mind helping them, but let them pay. Because once we get them over here, we're going to pay those tests for those people.
You know what worries me the most is the employees, because when you don't know where they go to, you know, and people lie. They always, you know, you see on TV, well, this person, but after she got sick, oh yeah, I was in, you know, then it's too late. Then they get in people sick, you know. Tell the people in Ensenada, you know, they go, but they didn't say nothing till they got sick. You know, that's what, from what is weather, that's what his concern. Because, you know, he really took it serious. That's why he was working from home, because he said, I'm more worried about the workers because, you know, in Laredo was getting bad, and then they come here and then bring it in, you know, and so they can get everybody sick.
All right. Commissioner, I don't know what you want to do, but I mean, I would suggest that we send a new contract to Zavala and Frio County, said, hey, you know, but during this epidemic that we're asking them to get their prisoners swabbed before they bring them to the jail.
I'm pretty sure they're doing that to keep their safe coming in. I mean, I don't think they're gonna take any prisoners and no test them in there. I don't think they're just gonna throw them in.
I mean, I'd rather have it in writing. I would have it in writing from them, and then you know, because those tests are 225, 250. Let them pay for the cost over there. Let them pay for the cost over there. And then.
So they would do the test, when they come out clear, they send them down here with a paperwork that they're clear, and that way.
And we're
That
not,
way you're good,
and we're not telling them no.
No,
Just keep them out there till they get
And how
results.
long does it take for the test?
4 days.
4 days? So what are you gonna do with it? They don't
Keep
have-
them
Well,
over there.
Frio
Keep them
County has
over
a
there.
3-day holding cell.
Oh, okay.
And
That's a
Zavala,
temporary.
and Zavala County has a jail. But what happens in Zavala County is that they may want to request us if we send somebody over there to be tested too, and we'll do it ourselves. It goes both ways because, I think Zavala County now has 11 cases and
Yeah, they went up.
they've gone up. But, and I know you don't want to lose a business, I don't want to lose a business, but I want to make sure our citizens are protected. So I think just doing it in the language of the contract, because what Frio County does, I mean, Zavala County does, is they have a problem with some prisoner, they'll send them over here and we do the same thing over there. You know, we sometimes you have some prisoners that don't want to get along with anybody, you have nowhere else, so you gotta move them, and sometimes for their safety too, you move them.
And it
So,
really does help sometimes, because they want to come back and they say they will behave, and we bring them back, so they help sometimes.
man, and we can table this and just reach out to the county judge, hey, you know, I'm concerned, you know, it works both ways, and then come back and bring it back. We don't have to decide right now, it's not like,
I
Do
talked
it.
to them, they'd be okay, I know they will cooperate.
but,
anyway, during this time, if they call the sheriff, they have somebody coming this way, make sure they got the paperwork and the swab, and the ones are clear, at least, you know, you're safe.
because our firemen, if they do stuff for us in the course of business for our employees, it's okay. But if they're gonna do it for a third-party contract, that becomes different because it's a prisoner from somewhere else.
And why do we have to pay for it?
So, well, but the thing is, I'm concerned about the liability. If you're sending the firemen to screen them, you know, it's a whole different story than just for us. So if you want, we can table this and then reach out to Zavala County and Frio County and, huh?
I talked to them.
Yeah. So we'll table this.
second,
The motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye. All
Aye.
those, same sign. I'm gonna hear 12 and 13 together. Discussion and or possible action, fire deputies punch time clocks and authorize Mr. Victor Villarreal to order and set up new time clocks. Number 13, discussion possible action on personnel leave, compensatory leave, vacation leave, and sick leave balances. When we started this virus deal, COVID, we had one order, which we sent everybody over 65 home or they have previous condition. So they ended up getting, I believe, 5 days, right? Huh? 7 days, 7 days. Then Commissioners Court gave everybody 10 days or a little bit more. For law enforcement of 86, for county employees it was 80. The firemen got 106 hours based on their shift. And that time was to be able to take as they needed. Then we closed the courthouse and opened it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I believe 2 weeks ago, we reopened, we continued the Tuesdays and Thursdays, but everybody had to come in. Everybody had to come in. And what I'm concerned about is that we've asked some employees to correct their timesheets, but yet we got some employees within the sheriff or the sheriff's office that have taken quite a bit of time. They've been paid, but it's not reflected on our timesheet. And I don't know, Sheriff, if you knew that 2 weeks ago, all the employees had to come back. And as of today, all the offices are open. But you got some employees, and I'm not gonna mention names, but there's one employee on the GPS that has a vehicle, or there's two employees. And if you look at the GPS and what they report, there's a big difference in time because they're not around are not around, but yet, but yet, but yet, there's no time taken off for the virus. So what happens is we're alternating, and we talked about a couple of your workers, your secretaries were rotating or they were on call, so they were taking calls. Those are what we talked about. But when they weren't on call, Mary staff would be deducting COVID. So on a timesheet, they put COVID. You got some employees, you got one employee, in the month of March, there's 8 days. And this is on the GPS that's not working, but we know that vehicle's assigned to them. In the month of April, 14 days. 14 days. And these are just the timesheet days. It's not Saturday or Sunday. So they worked 40 hours on one week, but they were out 4 days according to the GPS. And on another day, they put 40 hours and they were out 3 days on the GPS. And that was the same thing with the other one. And I haven't been able to look at everybody. But what I'm asking is that those timesheets need to be corrected because even if they got the 7 days instead of the 10 days and 17 days, the days are more that are being taken than what we've given. And it's not fair to everybody else. So we're asking that those timesheets need to be fixed. Otherwise, I said, put everybody on the clock. I mean,
I can check on that, Judge, because, I know when we had a 10 days worth of, 1 week, when you said we can start coming in, but, you know, we still had Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and, you know, the one that, like, they're supposed to come in, they're supposed to come in. You know, now that we remember the first 2 weeks that you said we're gonna get that COVID. But I know, like, one of the officers, he misplaced the keys. You might not see his car here, but he was working, he broke his personal vehicle. But he was coming in here and working because they were working also on the radios, because we wanted to get a program, we had to go to Uvalde certain day. So they were working on the radios. And during that week, that the individual was using it because he misplaced his, so he couldn't find it. And, we almost, told him he didn't have to pay his pocket to get on the key, but luckily he found it. But I know that you said, you know, because he went through the Eddie radio to be program, but turned out to be was bad. He had to bring it back. He's gonna have to take it back again. But it's one of those. But I gotta check, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that.
I only looked at 4 pay periods here. And that's how many days we're looking at. And we can review more. And the other deputy too, I mean, the car that's assigned, I never see them come to the courthouse or see them come to the courthouse in their own personal vehicle. They always come in a county vehicle. And other staff members brought it to our attention that we never see them here. In excess of 20 days, you know, that they've been paid for, it didn't work. It's not reflected on the balances, because in the balances here, they're not deducted. So if they're on salary, you control that, they can go, but if they're not gonna work, then, you know, then it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, if they're not gonna be working, then.
I would check on it.
And I'm saying they gotta correct that, they have to fix it. Because these timesheets are prepared by your secretary. They're not prepared by the individual employees. Each individual employee should do their own timesheet. And that's why I said, hey, just put them on the clock and you don't have to be going through this anymore. Just put everybody on the clock, all the deputies on the clock and
They
then
do,
you gotta.
they do their own. The only thing that normally is make sure that, you know, that everything is correct, but they do their own on a weekly, and they submit it already made, but then she double checks.
But they don't submit it to Willie.
No,
That's the thing. And they're the ones that keep track of it.
because a lot of times Norma makes a lot of corrections, and then sometimes they catch some and we be correct, Marie.
Because we got after some other employees because they were out 2 hours, 3 hours, and then all of a sudden you got some people here that have been gone for days, and it's not right. I mean, yeah, they can lose the keys, but if it's a new car, you should have an extra set of keys here, you know, or where,
No, that, I'm talking about the one is 20 years old, yeah.
huh? Oh, 20 years old. But I'm saying, if they didn't understand what,
That was like.
this is what I'm saying. We gave them these days. If they didn't understand what we were doing, correct them, take the leave off the balance, and fix them and move on. But if we can't do this, then put them on the clock, because we don't need to be, you know, watching everybody. That clock is the safest thing. Everybody punches. I've been here when deputies signed in, they call by radio, they punch in. We've tried every single way. But what happens is when you don't require a punch, then they start doing this where they're not at work, but yet they're getting paid. And that shouldn't happen.
Well, like I told you before, we had let 3 people go because of that, you know, we see what they're not doing that, you know, because team 41 means the beginning of your work, and sometimes we notice that we started checking GPS for the team 41, and 40 minutes later, the car haven't moved. That's what we have issues, because we can't check. And I don't know why they know having GPS, they know we can check those. And some people still won't care, you know, they're still doing it, and that's why those people are not here with us, you know. And we had people that were going home like 2 hours in the morning before team 42 means that they finished the work, the tour duty, and we see where they were going home. And it's not right for the other people, you know. Then they say, well, they call the other guy, well, yeah, they call who the guy is coming in. It's not about that, you know. Even if it's 5 minutes before you go, if there's a call, you're supposed to stay the call. It's just how it is, you know. I mean, you can't just say, give it to that guy, you already home in bed, you know. And that's why we let some people go.
Look, on that one, there, we gave them 10 days, 10 COVID days. So let's say they use those 10 days, and then I think I heard you said one of them took 17. Those other 7 days were probably pulled off from somewhere else, from the comp time, or?
No, see, we
they
gave,
pushed-
we gave total 17 days. 17 days.
Well, some of them got 17, some of them
Yeah,
got. an
but
extra
some of this here didn't take any, or maybe took 1 day out of it. But,
See, like the deputies, we really can't because they had to work, you know.
But
I mean,
on the
unless
work-
somebody was sick. I know we sent on one that Mr. Mendez called me because he got involved in arrest, and the guy was claiming that he had a COVID, and remember we had to send him home. We had to send home because he told me, you know, since he was part of the arrest, he shouldn't be part of it, but he didn't. So we sent him, and then Mr. Mendez called me a couple of days later and said, the guy was clear. He just made out because he heard in other places they hear that they got a COVID, they won't put him in jail. And he was hoping that, but that's why he got, but like, so we tried to cooperate, and then, you know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna tolerate that kind of stuff like that, because, you had to do, if you work, you work. If you don't, you don't, you know, you shouldn't be taking advantage of the county.
Yes, sir, but we gave them 10 days. 17 days were the ones that had
65 and over.
previous, you know, health conditions and,
Over 65.
and over 65. The other one got 10 days for, you know, so them other 7 days, they came out of the comp time. They couldn't come out of COVID. They couldn't give them-
I'm looking at a one person here, unless we go to an executive session, I could repost it. We're looking for March, April, and part of May, because it's only one payroll. And on that one, it shows 26 days on the GPS, but on the timesheets, it shows that they worked. There's no days taken off on the timesheet.
And
So
the
then when you look
GPS
on this, it shows 78 hours, but it should have been wiped out. It should have been wiped out. And then the other one, I can go through the dates. I pulled some GPS, you know, but they have better documents. And yeah, they could have lost the keys, or maybe they used another car. But in speaking to Willie, and Willie's here almost every day, I asked her, have you seen these people, or these people, or these people? Because we haven't seen them, and people ask me, where are they? Well, I don't know. So I asked Willie, have they seen them? And they hadn't seen them. We can go back to the clocks. We can go back to the cameras. The cameras will tell everybody, so take a lot of time. So I'm saying in this meeting, if you know you did not work, and that time sheet put that you worked, fix it, take the time, correct it, and go. That's what I'm saying. Let's get it fixed. If you got employees that are salaried, that are not working, we'll go back to the camera. And, you know, eventually, for these people, we're gonna have to file charges if they don't wanna fix it. Because that's county time. And when you start looking 2, 3, 4, 5, it starts to add up. It starts to add up. And it's not that you're doing wrong and you don't wanna hurt them, but they gotta work. And we have serious fights amongst ourselves in Commissioners Court during budget because you want extra officers and then you find out they're doing this or they're not, you know, it's upsetting. You know, and they don't need to put you in that position, Sheriff. They don't need to do, you can take the time, you can take, you're elected, you get called at all hours. They're not. The employees are not elected and they gotta work the hours because otherwise it comes across the board. But I'm a proponent to try to put everybody on a time clock. If you don't, then we just need to get those timesheets corrected. And either the money repaid to the treasury or them adjusting their timesheets. But it has to be taken care of.
So when the deputies call in that they're gonna start their shift, that's
We have it
recorded,
on the law, yes.
and who records those times when they go in and go out?
The dispatcher,
And that's where you go with your time sheets, go from there?
because that's what, Santa Norma, that's how they verify,
That's how they
to
verify.
concur that. It's not like a blank, like, you know, that's got, when we had Victor's, HR, that's what we let two guys go, because remember I explained to you, they got greedy, and they said that the county owned 40 hours, but then pay, so then for the previous HR secretary that was working for Victor, she started looking at, and she found out that this person on this, or on 2 different months, he did the same, like I said, like for the 2 week period, all he did on the next, the other 3 and 4, he used the same time, he just changed it on the top, you see what I mean? Like from working from the 1st to the 14th, and then from the 15th to the 30th, he had the same thing. When I questioned it, I know he was lying, just I said, you know, how can you have almost identical times? And I said, your GPS is like, you didn't even turn the car on these certain days. And he said that he's talking about the GPS didn't work, or maybe the inspection was busy, they didn't write it down. He started giving all these kind of excuses. But that's why, you know, and they know that we can get on with just because we can go back. They're supposed to, you know, that's the reason, you know, we have them, you know, for Team 41, and there's, like I said, there's like a penalty cost. So that reason, you know, because like I told you before, they leave and they see around the stop sign, they gotta go, or sometimes they go Team 41 and the troopers say, I need help, or the border patrol, they take off and start chasing. Like I said, I do agree with the judge, you know, if someone says they shouldn't be doing that, I personally don't like that, because you should do it, because like I say, you gotta pay for, you know, where you work, not because you want to go. But we can find it on the law, but we can go back and I can see, you know, we need to make it right. I mean, okay, let's say, you know, even the judge knows, I understand, you know, like I told you before, in 39 years, I had only taken 12 days, a sick day. I come here, even when the judge, I still came a few days, even where we were supposed to, and the judge, I don't have to, but I do, because I always try to set an example. I always try to set an example. So I come and I stay here, and even on the days that we're supposed to not open for the public, but we still have to work, I come here, you know, all the time. So nobody can say that I don't come to work, so, and even though I'm elected official, you know.
I was gonna say something.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely need to be corrected.
Well, we'll correct.
Because otherwise, like I said, put everybody on a time clock. Because we have some people that have taken any days off on the COVID. We have others that have, and we need to make sure they use it. We wanted to use it before the end of the year. The CARE Act is something else that's in place, and we have to if we shut down the courthouse completely, then we have to give them another 10 days. But we just need to make sure that we're gonna treat everybody fair. But if you're not working and you're not here, you're getting paid, then it should not be happening. And I don't know how you feel about the time clocks, but you know, sometimes it's easier to on everybody because it's harder to get away with that. But at the end of the day, commissioners, I mean, you know, what do y'all wanna do?
You wanna let the sheriff check it out?
Will it make it easier, Sheriff, if everybody punches in?
Yeah, that way we
Hey,
don't.
Judge,
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Judge,
Yes.
like
Go.
on that clocking in, some of the deputies take the vehicles home. How are they gonna do it to drive the county equipment to clock in? Say something happens from their house to the clock, who's gonna cover that?
You know, we've covered it before, and if they're on call all the time and say, take the vehicle home, I think most of the deputies have parked the vehicles. I only think there's one or two that take the vehicles home. I don't think it's that many. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only one or two that take the cars home.
It's like five that take it. The people, we let the people take the vehicles, they take care of it, we let them take them.
But the reality is, when they take a vehicle home, they're being given a fringe benefit that should be taxable, because it's a fringe benefit that they take the car home, and that's never been looked at. But those vehicles have GPS, they should all have GPS. You can go based on the GPS as well.
Yeah, that's why I said we can check all that, and.
And that was some of the things that we talked about, when we do the punching in. Well, what if you get called to an emergency and you're punching in, you gotta go and punch in, to respond, and those things happen. But when you're going through a lot of time and you're not there to get paid, it forces you to make a decision to account for everybody. And the GPS doesn't lie. It's pretty accurate. But I don't want to keep coming back and having to look at stuff. When I hear a complaint, well, let me look at it. It's the reason I looked at it. I got a complaint. It takes a lot of time. I end up spending my weekend going through this. And then, yeah, you get upset because why aren't they working? Why aren't they working? And, we struggle. People have a hard time paying their taxes. They're going to have a real hard time, and we need to make sure they're accountable. So they got to fix it. They got to fix it. And commissioners, we can table it, let him go back and correct it, and then we'll hear back from Willie and Mary to see if those items have been corrected.
I'll make that motion.
Or we can bring the attorneys and go in executive session. But we already asked some other people to fix it. They need to fix it.
Let's do that, let's table it, and then see what Mary really come up with.
So on number 12, discussion possible action, we're gonna table this. Let Mary get the corrected timesheets.
We'll make the motion.
Raul Ayala,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
that's gonna fix number 13 as well. So we would just, on the personal leave, comp time, vacation leave, sick balances, Mary can print a report. We need to make sure that people get to take their comp time. It doesn't build up. We need to do that. So,
That's what we're working on. We don't
so,
want people-
and it's across the board. That's across the board. So,
I'll make the motion to table.
motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. There's one more item, Sheriff. Number 11, discussion possible action as to set limits required by section 130.908, approval of spending certain precinct officers. We tabled this last time and we put it this way, and I put it here as well. The law in that statute states we must, that we have to put a balance. It doesn't say you table it or you don't table it. It says we must. So we need to decide on what type of balance that we're gonna set. Uh, and I would say, wait for Ms. Martinez to give us a clarification, bring her in, and we talk. But you get a copy of it. Section 130.908 approvals pending certain county and precinct officers. If an incumbent county precinct officer is not renominated or is not reelected to the county or precinct office of a county during the time following the date of the results of the official canvass of the primary or the election returns are announced, the Commissioners Court must approve any expenditures by the incumbent county and precinct officers who is not renominated or reelected, that is over an amount set by the Commissioners Court. So it says we have to set an amount and we must approve all expenditures. So it's not saying you can put it off, this is we have to do that. So at some point in the near future, said Sheriff, kind of plan what your budget is, what your travel is. Instead of coming back and forth, let's hear your plans are to the end of the year. That way we're not just nagging on you. You know, I'd rather say, you give us your plan, what you have between now and the end of the year and your training, and we get it approved, and then you're done. You don't have to be coming back and forth.
Yeah, because remember, like I discussed last time, because I just thought we're going, because, you know, I know that I'm not gonna spend the money, I'm not gonna go crazy, and, you know, I know, like, because remember you always said, well, once you, it's approved, not all those elections, but still, I'm not gonna,
Not only can we appropriate the money, we can say, hey, you know, this is his plan on what he intended to do, and, you know, we approved him, and it allows us to defend the county too. But it's not something that says, well, y'all can't, it says you must. But in working with you, because I've been here, I've known you since 1981,
39 years.
you know, in working, being straight up, I'd say, hey, you know, let's figure it out so nobody's gonna mess with you. And what happens many times, Sheriff, is you have a lot of people have always liked you, hardcore like you, they're always gonna be there for you. And then you're gonna have some employees that are upset because, you know, of the election. And those are hard to reach, but it's sometimes, well, I'm not gonna do anything, so, you know, I'm not gonna be here because they follow you. But at the same time as they're working for the county, and they have to make that decision, they said, you know, if they don't wanna work, then they need to decide to move on, because, you know, we all took an oath that we're gonna, for our whole term, that we're gonna protect the county and we're gonna work on the county, and I know you've been in it so long that you're gonna do with it. But I don't want this to go sideways on us. I wanna be upfront. So you plan your vacations, your trips, your travel, and that way your staff knows what you're gonna do, and we know that we're taken care of. But it says it must. So at some point, June, July, get us your plan and we'll set an amount. I mean, he's been asking me, like, he ordered 3 vehicles, only 2, he's gonna change it to 2. He's been telling me, but it says it has to come to the Commissioner's Court. It has to come to the Commissioner's Court.
So that would be any expenditures made from now to the end of the year.
But you don't want to do a $50, $100. You set an amount, that way you're not messing with them.
Yeah.
You set an amount in a budget that he knows he has this travel to do. He's gonna have to do things regardless whether it's investigations or whatever. But
The major one.
but make sure it makes sure that we know what's on top of the expenditures.
See, the only reason I thought was just because, the money, you know, you approve it, you know, to get 3 more vehicles. So we found, and so we thought we might get the third, we might get like the other one. So I heard those, they had 3, but one was really like a supervisor, it's too fancy, and I said, nah, we don't need to get that for the deputies, because some of them don't take care of the vehicles, they don't care, you know, that's why we've been doing, whoever takes care of the vehicles, whether the guy just started or has 8 years on, they don't take care of it, you know, they might get upset because, you know, they think they'll be here the longest, but it's not about that, it's that you gotta take care, because some of these guys, they don't care, you know, I mean, And I hate to say it, but it's true, you know, we tell them, and I've been telling them since I started, you know, take care because that vehicle, you gotta treat like it's your vehicle. Without the vehicle, you can't be, you know, working. And they complain, well, I have to share the vehicle. Yeah, because I guarantee you, like I told the judge, we had an officer that he was going too fast to the construction, and no one there's a construction, you know, he hear the barrier, disable the vehicle. I mean, those are common sense that you don't need to be going there. But I can be holding the hands and be there with them when they're driving. I know that they're in the construction, every day is gonna change. It's well that it wasn't like that yesterday, well, yeah, but today is a different day. And like I said, I take pride, you know, like in my previous uh, when I was working for that agency, I did 29 years, 30, 28 years without a fleet accident. And I'm proud of it, you know, because I took the car like it was my car. That's why they give us a safety pin, and I had 25 years. I didn't get it at 30 because I didn't stay 2 more years, but I never had a chargeable fleet. In 28 is not easy, you know, because you're driving all the time. Go to Austin, go to big cities. People used to make fun and say, well, yeah, you're in Petula, but they say, I go to Austin like everybody else. Dallas, we used to take up prisoners, but I mean, people had to take care of the equipment. And I'm really strong believer that, you know, you want good vehicles. And I think including you too, because when I came in, you two of you weren't here, but Mr. Ramirez, but I know you and Mr. Ramirez, I thank you because we had, you know, we had a lot of vehicles that when the deputies here, they used to get like 4 or 5 year vehicles when they got vehicles, you know. So, and I thank the judge and the commissioners for doing that because we got 14 brand new vehicles when I came in here. So we made some history on that, you know, because we were bigger and stuff like that. But like I said, I understand the budget and we can do that, but
So he would need to make a list, Judge, itemized, or just a total, or
No, I would think is.
whatever he's gonna need to give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, he already did his conferences he's gonna go to. If there's any other conferences that come up, you know, he needs to go ahead and plan it, so we're gonna go to these other ones too, and get them to us.
But those
You know, I don't know if they bought the guns yet, at the jail in Ensenada. I don't know if they bought them yet, but they needed weapons, they needed things, so those were big purchases. And,
yeah, we bought some shotguns.
and the first thing people start saying, well, you know, why is he buying all this now? Well, those are things that we talked about, and sometimes those are things that you need, but they have values up there.
And they're gonna stay here.
So, but you, the law's there and says, you know what, this is what I'm planning to get, this is what I'm gonna do. This, that way he doesn't get criticized by anybody coming in,
Yeah.
that he did it and we follow the statute.
And what the vehicles, they were budgeted
Last year,
in the, I don't remember exactly how many, but I
we
remember
got
the
4,
vehicles
but
were
we
budgeted.
got 4 and then just told us to get that other one with the government rate. So we just found out last week, and like I said, they had 3, but one was like a supervisor. I told the captain, no, get one because that's too nice, and you know I don't want to get it just so they won't take care of it. You know, and I'm saying all of them, you know, or like that. Some will really take care of the vehicles, but I think they called the captain. They said they might find one and they can pay that one, the supervisor vehicle for another. So we might get the 3 after all.
but like I said, it's a statute that's there, it's required to be followed, we gotta put an amount. And in working with you, let's hear your plan to the end of the year, and we'll cover it, we'll go through it. But I'll put off the June or July, but we gotta come up with, we gotta make sure we take care of ourselves. It doesn't say you can decide, it says we must. And we have to do it.
So we go ahead and table it also, just.
Table it, give him a chance to sit down and see what he's gonna plan. With all this virus stuff, I know it's been hard to sit down and plan. You know, give him that opportunity to do that, and then we come back and, you know, vote on it.
I'll make the motion to table.
Motion's been made and second to table it. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, Sheriff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Ramos, are you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm gonna go, I think I got you for 2 more items. 2 more items that I need you
Okay.
for. And And, then we'll probably recess for lunch. Well, 3. I'm gonna jump to number 9, discussion and update, on gift deed. And you didn't prepare this, but I explained it to you. We did get the deed already, it's been filed, and we would just need to accept it into the commissioner's court for the property on Albert Martin donated by the Evans family. But Marty already filed it and gave us a copy of it. So,
now we should be ready to start.
yeah, you're ready to start. So, with that being done, I think we got, I think, Marty, did I get your copy? Here you go. So we would just need a motion to accept the deed into, into the minutes. Make the motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion. I'll second it.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Number 15,
Aye.
Mr. Ramos.
Excuse me, Judge, the only thing we're gonna need is that deed needs to be filed of record.
Oh, it's already been filed.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
It's already been filed, but that's the one provided by the Evans. What we're gonna need is an interlocal agreement with the city of Cotula for, garbage collection for Fowlerton and Gardendale. And, that's number 15, discussion possible action on interlocal agreement with city of Cotula for garbage collection and of Fowlerton and Gardendale. And Commissioner tried to do the garbage collection and has done it, off and on, but TCEQ is very, very strong and what happens in Fowlerton, if people create illegal dump sites, they come after the county anyway. Same thing for Fowlerton, so it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So what Commissioner Ayala has been working with the city of Cotula to put some containers to be picked up by the city. And given that the residents there would have to set up an account with the city, we would probably be responsible for some balances, especially with the startup costs. So we're gonna need for you and Mr. Ayala to meet with Mr. Dovalina to work out an interlocal agreement for garbage collection. And I'm thinking, as I understand it, it's gonna be one container to where the people can
Build the fence,
can
lock it in.
lock it and throw garbage.
Does Mr. Lavalina have some of the general details or not?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he has some of the details and that way you can kind of reach out to him. But what's happened, and we've seen it over the years, in Fowlerton in the past, people would go start dumping in empty lots. And then TCU comes in and they come after the county. And it's the same thing with Fowlerton. Or they start burning. Outside the city limits, they can burn to an extent, but it doesn't burn everything completely, so you still end up with trash. So there's an unincorporated area. So you got 2 town sites that are not incorporated, and
Have we ever had an agreement with any other municipality, Judge, that you know of?
we've had some interlocals with Cotula, but not garbage collection.
Okay, that's what I meant. Okay.
And I know Commissioner has tried for a while with a trailer, but TCQ is real strict that they don't want any leakage on the highway, so he stopped it before, you know, before we got in trouble. It's like you say, no good deed goes unpunished. So that's what I was gonna ask. if we could have a motion to authorize Commissioner Ayala, and Mr. Ramos to, proceed with an interlocal agreement with the city of Cotula for garbage collection in Fowlerton,
Gardendale.
in Gardendale.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Nieves made the second, and then we heard you as well, but, all those in favor, say aye. I'm gonna jump to number 7, discussion and/or possible action authorize Mr. Kilis Ahmed to advertise for RFQs, RFPs, and bid for additional work to be completed at the Emergency Operations Center and the courthouse, and to receive update on the status of repairs, projects, including windows, HAVC, flooring, and update on communication expansion of the EOC. And Mr. Ahmed, are you there? Gillis?
Yes, I'm here. I had to find unmute.
Are you in the Bahamas?
No, that, are you talking to Don Smith? No, he's got a background down there. He's cheating. He's not in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay, done. I gotta look at that. Where's Don? Are you out? Is it working? Okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
Gillis.
All right. Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me join in for this. I'm reporting on several issues on the courthouse and the EOC this morning, and I'd like to start with the HVAC repairs on the courthouse. As y'all are aware, we've done some emergency repairs, and then we just completed phase 1 of a major repair on the courthouse. The first work was done in October of 2019, and the last work we just finished up on the 25th of April. We're working with Fire and Ice geothermal heat pump system out of Woodward, Oklahoma, who were specialists in this. And they ordered all the equipment based on their October checkup and emergency repair, and they brought all the equipment with them on a trailer. So they actually had all the materials they needed to do the work at the courthouse. The work was finished on April the 25th, as I mentioned, and they found several other issues that were not discovered. For one example, they brought in a compressor for one of the case boxes up on the 4th floor. When they hooked it up, they found out that the coil was leaking, but they couldn't see that when they were back here in October because the compressor didn't work. So there's some things like that that we found. And then the other issues which I need to discuss are going to be substantially more expensive, and they include several things. One of those is cleaning all of the water piping, the well water, and it requires a fairly good size, well, pretty large size pump, and they filter all the water and get any contaminants out of there. We did find some contaminants this time inside the circulation water, which needs to be addressed. I'm also recommending the installation of a supplemental fluid cooler. This is, if you can imagine, it's like a radiator, but it looks like an air conditioning coil about, I'm gonna say about 6 by 10 feet or 12 feet long, depending on how big they are. We would put that on the roof, 4th floor level, outside of where a DPS is, and the circulating pipes would be connected in the crawl space and go up behind the elevator onto the adjacent roof. And we would have it automatically set up so that anytime the ambient temperature outside is 10 degrees lower than the temperature of the water in the circulation system, that unit would come on and start cooling the water down. That fluid cooler, we feel, is a high priority item based on the current water temperature. Although the water temperature, the equipment still works, it would greatly improve the efficiency of the system and longevity of the system. There are also several cabinet units, mostly on the 4th floor, such as the one I mentioned where we put in a new compressor, but the coil is, we need to go in and do some work and replacement on several of those cabinet units. And finally, for this next phase, I'd be working with my mechanical engineers, and we would be looking at replacing the building management system, which is the air conditioning control system. There was one installed when we finished the courthouse. The problem is that that system is very far outdated, and the consultants that were hired to do the maintenance have kind of messed it up. We can't get into certain air handling units to control them, and some of them would not even turn on. So we took care of that in this last phase 1 repair, which I approved putting in individual thermostats that can tie into Wi-Fi, and it allows them to be separated from the building management system. But I do recommend that that system be looked at for replacement in this next round of work. That would bring the HVAC system up to full maintenance level. And then I believe we should be dealing directly with a maintenance company, as I've submitted one. Fire and Ice has put in a maintenance proposal. But I believe we need to complete these items as a bid package, because I am quite certain it will be required bidding. And I'm thinking that the budget is going to be around 160,000 or in that range. And I just wanted y'all to let me know if I can proceed on that bid package. The next item is the EOC 911 call center. The work is going very well on that project. We are on schedule for July completion. We have 3 change orders that I would like to get approval on. Change order number 1 is a no cost change order to change the time of the start of the project, because we could not get permits until February the 18th from the city. And so that changed our start date. Change order number 2 is an increase in cost of $4,534 and relates directly to the installation of new electrical work on the backup power supplies for the equipment that the county's equipment person is going to be moving from the jail to the EOC. This is uninterrupted power supplies and circuitry for the equipment from moving from the jailhouse to the new call center. And the third change order would be change order number 3, which is an increased cost of $2,480. And this change order will add electronic combination lock to the existing door opening into the 911 call center, placing an electronic release on that door that would allow the dispatchers to open that door without having to get up. And then that would allow them to let someone in. But also there's a combination on there, so it's a changeable combination. So periodically they can give the number out to deputies and DPS folks who come in and out on a regular basis. So that would be change order number 3. I would also like commissioner's approval to look at the existing air conditioning system in the EOC. There have been complaints that when the meeting room is fairly full, the air conditioning system is not working very well. I would like to work with the contractor, the contractor's mechanical contractor, and the my engineers to make sure that everything is clean, the coils are clean, make sure everything's running properly, and then recalculate the loads, especially the loads with humidity issues. And if necessary, we may have to add a unit that would be designed specifically to pre-cool the outside air for the makeup air for the building. I estimate this is roughly 3 to 4 tons. It is a unit that's a little bit more expensive because we'll either distribute the ducts into the classrooms or we'll tie into the existing ducts. So I don't know if we're going to add ducts or supplement the existing air conditioning. Chief Smith, I see, is on this, and we've had discussions on the classroom issue. And I've also talked to my engineers, and we've gone through photographs of the attic and what we see up in the attic. And we think we need to do more research up there and drawings, and actually work with the existing mechanical contractor on some cleanup and repair if necessary, and pricing out 100% air conditioned outside air, makeup air for that unit, for that classroom space. There was a question on the thermostat, and that was already in the base bid. It's just that I didn't know that. So that's already been taken care of, Chief. And finally, the next item I'd like, the total cost for the change orders in the 911 call center for change order 1, 2, and 3 is a total of $7,014. The third item would be discussion of the cork flooring in the room that y'all are in right now. I have worked with Galvan Floors from Fort Worth that did the original installing on that floor where y'all are sitting right now. I have checked, and we do have repair cork in the basement, part of our shelf stock left over from our restoration project. And with that discovery, we have a new revised price to replace that floor and install 3 coats of finish on top of the entire courtroom. That's behind the rail and in front of the rail, for a cost of $27,754.69.
What's the total, 27,000?
$27,754.69. And that would be, yes.
Is that with the approval of the Historic Commission as well?
Not necessary, because this is maintenance, and
Okay.
because they know who I am, there won't be a question on it.
And this flooring was damaged, this is for the public to hear, by some attorneys that had a court date, and they put a certain type of tape that damaged the finish. This will hopefully fix that. I know the judge, district judge, is very supportive in trying to get up to pay. So we will submit that 27,000 to the district judge, and he will get it to those attorneys, because he told him he wanted to pay for it. So it's taken a couple years, but we're waiting for that magic prize. Thank you, Kilos.
You're welcome.
Is there any other items, Kilos?
Yes, I do need permission on the 3 change orders for the 911 call center. And I mentioned the investigation of the air conditioning in the EOC meeting rooms and creating a package to see what needs to be done to correct that, and having the contractor and the mechanical contract subcontractor work with us on what it would take to repair that or upgrade that classroom area. And finally, we would be proceeding on our next phase of work on the HVAC system, which would be creating a set of bid documents for that, the last phase for getting the equipment repaired and up to full running with the new operating system.
The EOC, the investigation, so you're gonna get someone to come back and analyze what needs to be done. And then based on those specifics, then you'll go out and bid it out. Now,
Yes, I'd price it, if it can be done as a change order to the current contract, I'd work it as a change order. But if it goes over 50,000, we would have to bid it out.
okay, I think that's fine. So we got the investigation, the HVAC system, upgrade. And what was the third change order, or just 3 change orders for the 911 call center?
There are 3 there are 3 change orders and just permission to proceed on trying to see what's wrong with the existing equipment.
Okay. Now, coming back to the courthouse itself and the review of the courthouse, I noticed Stoddard has been making progress on the windows. Has he given you a timeline of when he anticipates he will finish?
Now I can request that. I do have a timeline in the schedule that they submitted. I apologize, I don't have that in front of me. But I can look that up. And
well, one of the things that I've looked at the windows, Gillis, that we had talked about is when they open the windows, that they'd be opening the windows, re-greasing them, and I haven't seen him opening the windows very much. I've seen him working from the outside, but
Right.
I don't know if y'all seen him opening the windows at all here. So
No,
that was one of the concerns, and one of the elevated prices was that if they had rust, they'd be getting the rust, but they'd also be addressing the window when they open it to make sure it was painted and taking care of the inside. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because I haven't seen that that part of the scope of the work.
they're currently not proceeding on the interior, and they'll do that at one time because that's going to involve cleaning all the blinds and then opening the windows and lubricating and cleaning those channels inside before they paint. They do have to open the windows to paint the inside jambs, head, and sill of each window.
Okay.
And that's a very interruptive thing to do to the people's offices. So we're trying to look and schedule that in such a way after we get all the glazing done that we kind of hit it with a big cleaning crew at one time and get all of the blinds cleaned, and then the jambs for the windows and painted, and then all the glass cleaned before they leave the job site.
Now, these windows that are being redone, and we're going back because we kind of have the public watching, we're redoing the windows because the maintenance on the part of the county, the person that we had assigned, was not spending enough time to maintain the windows. So once we get this work done, every 1 or 2 years, if we manage to paint it, it should prolong the life of the windows.
That is absolutely correct. What happened is they, all it really needed was an extra coat of paint about 5 years after they were done. And the way it is, we're well past the 10-year mark on the windows, and the sun has dried out the glazing material in the frames. And so now there should be an inspection done every couple of years. Maintenance maybe at 5 years, it might be at 4 years. That's why you keep an eye out, especially on the west side of the building. You keep an eye out on the appearance of the glazing and the paint. And we also have some of our entry doors are starting to crack at the bottom, and I'd like to discuss getting those solidified with low viscosity epoxy. It'll mean that we'll have to set up repairs and remove the window, the door, set them up and inject the epoxy and get them cleaned up. As soon as the epoxy hardens, we could then go in and do another coat of paint on all the 4 exterior entry doors. And that would be an additional cost also.
Now, Killis, since we're talking about these doors as well, are all these doors dimensions the same size?
There are 3 sets of doors that are the same size, northeast and west. The south side is not the same size.
And the reason I'm asking that it may be worth for a while to have a couple sets of doors extra manufactured that we could save should something happen in the past, in the future, that we can move them around and say the doors in 5 years need to be taken care of. Well, we'll replace them with the new doors, work in the other ones and save those until they're ready.
And then rotate them around.
Yes.
I had not thought of that. That's actually a very good idea. And then if you get something like vandalism or high wind issue or something that damages the door, you would have a backup set ready. It's just that there'd be 2 backup sets based on the south door being a different size.
And that would be fine. That would be fine, but I would suggest that is suggested because that way when you can start on the construction of the doors now, and then, you know, we remove them and fix them and then put them back in.
I will dig out the original drawings. I think it's an excellent idea, and it's a good idea for planning ahead for making the repair and maintenance later on that much easier.
Provided we'd have to adjust the doors in the future that all the hinges are all aligned the same.
They should be aligned essentially the same, but that would be easy to determine. And it's also not a big fix depending on how far out of alignment it is.
Now, the HVAC system upgrade, we feel it in the courthouse, it feels really nice. I think everybody's very, very happy with the work. Are they gonna have to address the parking lot at any point because of the drainage of the water, or did the upgrades take care of that?
Drainage of the water on the courthouse?
Yeah, well, in the parking lot, there's an area where I think we have some manifolds.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about there's a dip there. It looks like there was a repair there or something.
Yes, but it hasn't been fixed, but there was water that makes its way up to the street or the parking lot, to the asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen it in a while, but it has in the past come to the top. And I think you'd mentioned that's where the manifold was. So I didn't know if fire and ice was going to extend, you know, any work to include any possible work on the manifold.
I can sure have them check that on their next trip down there, or bring them in if I need to do an investigation and pressure testing if we have to.
So, we see that happening.
I'll take care of it.
Now, once this HVAC system is taken care of, you've been working with Mr. Villarreal to make sure it's integrated, for the Wi-Fi?
I didn't understand all of that. Can you repeat?
Well, your staff is dealing with our IT people for be able to connect the HVAC system to the Wi-Fi,
Yes,
okay?
that's correct. We will, we had trouble setting it up while we were there, but we do need to get that taken care of. That could be on a maintenance trip for certain.
And don't forget the bailiff needs a camera in the holding cell. Oh, you take care of it?
I have talked I actually went up and personally tried to find a pathway to get it there. And I haven't been able to find a way to get it there. I talked to Victor about using two wireless cameras and tie them into the courtroom or to the security system. And he was searching for cameras that would be wireless, battery operated, and would not require hardwire.
All right. So you want us to vote on three change orders for the 911, I mean, for the EOC?
Yes.
It's the only action you need from us?
I
And
bel-
to approve the Galvan bid for $27,754.69.
Yes.
And you had mentioned something for $7,000.
There were, of the three change orders, excuse me, wrong page. Of the three change orders, one was $4,534, one was $2,480, and the total was $7,014 even, $7,014.
And that's all for the EOC?
Correct. It's for the 911 call center. Yes.
So we would need a motion to authorize the repairs, change orders for 7,014. And also to include, to accept the Galvan proposal for 27,754.69. And to authorize, Mr. Almond to continue with the investigation for the central air system at the EOC. And would that be sufficient, Gillis?
Yes, sir. At this time, we will proceed on the EOC air conditioning also.
Okay. So is there a form of a motion?
Go ahead and make the motion.
Motion's been made, and second. So, roll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now it's 12:15. Did you want to take a recess? For an hour and a half? And then we'll cover the remaining items. It shouldn't be too long, but we got a few bills, huh? So
I'll make the motion to take a recess.
for an hour and a half.
1.5 hours.
And you're leaving? Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Mr. Ramos,
Yes, John.
we're done. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and you all be safe. I know these are very difficult times, but we've got to just keep forging forward. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.